Welcome back to the Cyclone Fanatic pregame show. I'm your host, Leah Nelson, alongside Chris Williams. We're in the Wild Rose Casino studios, and we've got a lot to talk about for the game Iowa State versus West Virginia. And we'll get into it after we thank a few of our sponsors. Let's start off with Fairway. If you guys want some good quality meat, you know where to go. Check out Fairway Meat Market and Grocery out in Ames. You can grab all the good quality meat for your tailgate. Again, it's going to be another late game this Saturday, so you'll be able to grab some dinner
and next
some
week.
lunch.
Did you see that too?
Yes, we're on a roll. It's amazing.
Why do you like these night games so much? They're horrible.
Longer time to hang out.
Oh my God, you're so young.
What, would you love like a 9 a.m. game? I saw someone tweet that. I thought that was psychotic.
I would love a 9 a.m. game if that were possible.
Oh, what time 11? Would you wake up? 3?
Like I always do, like 6.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, besides
the old school, back before you and Aiden were even born, we had games at 1 o'clock all the time. They were perfect.
No, my favorite would be 3:30 and night games. Those are the best.
Yeah.
Anything before
if
that?
I was strictly a tailgater, that's what I would want to. Like the night games, and you get a longer time to eat that Fairway meat, right?
Longer time to eat the meat. Sounds like the great day to me.
Yeah.
Also, let's thank
on the fat, baby. Yeah.
Moving on, let's thank our friends over at McFarland Clinic, Dr. Greenwald and Dr. Wormy. They do an incredible job there. Seriously, they're keeping everyone healthy over at Iowa State and in Ames, including.
They had their work cut out for them last Saturday.
I know.
All those injuries. I saw my guys down there on the sideline. They were working hard down there.
They were. They always are.
Yeah, they really are. Good dudes. We appreciate them. They've been sponsoring us for a long time here on Cyclone Fanatics, so we love those guys.
They're awesome.
Well, where do we want to start, miss?
Oh, why don't you just give us a breakdown of what we're going to see from West Virginia on Saturday?
Great question. Okay, so that's all I did this afternoon was I watched their game against Oklahoma State, studied them. And I really don't feel a lot different about them compared to when like Bloom and I did our podcast earlier this week, assuming people listened to those. Maybe you didn't.
I do.
Okay. Well, good. Thank you. Listen, this is a really good, the part that worries me about this game, just from a sheer matchup standpoint, is the fact that they're a really good running team. They're probably one of the best running teams in college football. They have 3 running backs. They have 2 really good ones. Their quarterback can run, and you match that up with all of Iowa State's injuries, which at this time of us recording this, we don't exactly know what Iowa State will have available. I think we do. I think 9 Brzina will play based on Matt Campbell's language, but it's so hard to tell. They're not one-dimensional, though. Like, this isn't like Houston where you kind of just play to stop the run, and you knew that they couldn't beat you through the air. West Virginia is good enough to beat you through the air. Their quarterback is a guy who some people believe is an NFL prospect, okay? So that part of the matchup worries me because of Iowa State's situation with all of the injuries that have just continued to pile up. I really hope that Darian Porter is back this week at corner. That would be huge. Brzina is obviously one that we are watching at linebacker. And, like to think both of those guys on the defensive line that got hurt and came back into the game will be good to go. I don't know why we would think that wouldn't be the case. But yeah, Leah, that's my thing going into this one, because I think Iowa State can score on this team. I think Iowa State will score on this team. The problem is if you have if the opposition can run all over you, it will. That's where these games, especially when you're on the road, can get ugly, and they can kill clock and they can yuck it up and all this stuff and turn into an ugly type of football game where, Iowa State is like it's a stallion, right? Like, you got to let them go out and gallop. That's what these guys are really, really good at. And I would prefer the offense to be able to have as many possessions as possible, because I think Iowa State will put up some points. But yeah, that's the one part of this matchup, is that rushing attack from West Virginia that makes me nervous.
So On social media, people are questioning the strength of our schedule. I don't know if you see, I know you talk about looking at social media about it. And they're even discrediting some of like Iowa State's wins, including Iowa, based on how Iowa's been playing recently. So do you think West Virginia, this is their first real test for Iowa State's real test?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the first real test because playing at Iowa is like this will be a brutal atmosphere on Saturday night, but it's not going to be much worse than the Cyhawk game in Kinnick. So, if you power rated these teams, I would say Iowa and West Virginia are almost the exact same right now. West Virginia might be like a point or two favorite over Iowa. I think Baylor is a real test when you look at that team. So, no, I don't like real test. What does that mean? I mean, Houston just went into TCU as a 17-point underdog and won.
Right.
Like, is that not a real test going on the road? Do I think Iowa State has played the toughest schedule in college football? Absolutely not. Like but we knew this going into it. We knew the schedule was back heavy. We knew starting this game was when it would get real serious. So none of that is anything new. And the reality in my mind is this is why I like the new Big 12 for Iowa State, because you're finally playing against teams that you should be playing against. Iowa State has beaten Texas and Oklahoma. But in this new world where money is so indicative of how these teams look on the field, Iowa State's stacked up against similar type of programs. And I think with Matt Campbell at the helm, Iowa State can be in position to not only compete, but win the Big 12 conference every year. This is the first time in Iowa State history where it's not David versus Goliath, really. And it's kind of like Goliath versus Goliath, David versus David. And while there are problems with that in the world of college athletics, I like it for Iowa State football that you're playing against similar type of teams, and so far you're kicking their butt. And you don't need to apologize to anyone for that. If there's an Iowa fan out there saying that, yeah, you play in the Big Ten West for the last 15 years, okay? That's a really rich comment coming from you. So don't pay attention to those people, if they've been playing Purdue and, Minnesota and like godforsaken Nebraska programs for the last, stacking up their schedule, Northwestern. Like, I don't want to hear it, okay? It's going to get tougher for Iowa State. This is the best offense that they've seen. This is the biggest test that they've had going into Morgantown, night game. It's a big night over there, no doubt about that. But Iowa State doesn't have anyone to apologize to for going 5-0.
Period.
I would drop the mic if it wasn't
attached.
Yeah, onto the table. Hey, real quick, did you know that our friends at the Aer Lingus College Football Classic are giving away a trip for two to Ireland? Yes.
Oh my gosh!
This is awesome. You can go to cyclones2ireland.com/win. Cyclones to Ireland, and that is the number 2. Cyclones2ireland.com/win. And the winner is going to receive a round trip airfare for 2 on Aer Lingus, a 3-night stay in Dublin, 2 tickets to the game, pregame hospitality. You must be 18 or older to win. The deadline to enter is 11:59 Eastern on Halloween night.
Ooh, spooky.
Yeah. Ooh. Cyclones2ireland.com/win. Enter now. You'd be dumb not to. Just throw your name in the hat. Let's go. Also want to thank our friends at Centurion Stone of Iowa, Justin Luch, Joe Farron, B. Laz, all my guys and gals. Can't forget Stacy over there at Centurion Stone of Iowa. Love Stacy. They are great supporters of what we do here at Cyclone Fanatic. I hired them a couple years ago. They did my stone fireplace. They are the best in the business, completely changed the look of my house. They do patios, all that good stuff. Centurion Stone of Iowa. Want to give them a shout out. They also have a showroom in Omaha, Nebraska as well, if you're paying attention to us over in the Cornhusker State. So, Leah, where else do we go on Iowa State, West Virginia?
Well, we kind of mentioned the atmosphere before you got into thanking our wonderful sponsors. So this game is going to be very similar to the Baylor-Iowa State game, meaning it's a night game. They've got a theme. They're going crazy on social media. They're having a drone show. So don't even get me started about it.
Ticks me off, man.
It does. It makes me so mad. But the only difference is that obviously Iowa State's going in and the fans are going to be booing them. They're not for Iowa State. So how difficult is this going to be for the Cyclones, if at all, if it's difficult?
I think it's a real challenge. This is why I like the new Big 12 for the most part. It's not perfect, but this is one of the great fan bases in the Big 12. West Virginia is. They remind me so much of Iowa State fans. I
love West Virginia fans.
Yes. Yeah, you did your whole softball. Yeah, there you go.
Cyclones.
Yes. Yeah, there you go. But you've seen it firsthand. Like the fan bases are so similar. When I used to do women's basketball, it was always one of my favorite road trips to make because of the people there. They're nuts. Mm-hmm. They don't have pro sports there. Like, this is their pro sport. They are really passionate about football in Morgantown, which is what makes it such a great time. Anytime you can go there. Now you put in night game, and as Neil Brown pointed out this week, you're talking about a top 15 opponent, which as Bloom pointed out to me earlier today, that's kind of rare for Iowa State to be like the hunted, right? Mm-hmm. As far as that goes. So this is going to be, maybe at Utah in November, but this will be either the first, second, or third toughest environment this Iowa State team will play in all year, depending on where you rank Kinnick. There's no doubt about that. However, the Big 12 this year, there's been the road home thing really hasn't mattered. There's been so many upsets in this league. And, Iowa State's on upset alert. They're only a 3-point favorite, though. Right. That always makes me nervous when the team with the number on it is a small favorite or even an underdog against the home team. That tells you that, Vegas is kind of trying to bait you into something. So, listen, tough environment. The good thing is this is an Iowa State team that they were young last year. For the most part, they've experienced stuff like this. This isn't going to, this isn't going to shock them or anything like that. But no doubt, if I'm picking this game on a neutral field, it's a no-brainer to me that I'm picking Iowa State to win it. The fact that it is in Morgantown, night game, with all the scenarios we've already laid out, makes it really challenging to figure out who's going to win this one.
Yeah, but I think Iowa State's going to go in and it's going to be exciting. Personally, I always played better when everyone was against me. So hopefully that's the same for Iowa State.
Well, and Matt Campbell's teams have been really good on the road.
Yeah.
That, to me, there's two things, when you look back at the Campbell era for me, that he changed about Iowa State football. One was that on any given Saturday, you feel like you have a chance to win. It really wasn't the case. There was maybe half the time that was the case. Rhodes kind of changed it a little bit, but with McCarney, it was basically schedule indicative. With Campbell, it's just you can beat anyone on any given day. It doesn't matter how big of an underdog you are. But two, they've been really good on the road in the conference. It's been really really cool to watch, and it's made this you almost in a weird way. Sometimes you feel better with Campbell's teams on the road, and I don't know why. The only thing I wish is when you go on the road, the night games suck. You'd rather anytime you're on the road, you would rather kick at 11 or 2:30, just because sitting around in the hotel all day can be a drag, as you've learned over the years. And you can sit, especially in college football, because you sit there and you watch the other games, and it's they got upset, and then it can get in your head. You hope to think that doesn't happen, but anytime Iowa State's on the road, I would just assume get the game over with as early as possible.
Yep. And finally, last game, Iowa State found their balance between running and passing the ball. Rushing yards, they had 265. Passing, they had 277. So how important is it for Iowa State to be able to do both against West Virginia?
I think it's critical for this offense to reach its full potential. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a fan of passing the football as much as humanly possible. But, I said in postgame on Saturday night that I was finally ready to buy stock in Iowa State's offense
Yes.
because I thought it was about ready to take off. And it's because of the running game. Mm-hmm. Not the passing game, the running game. I know what the passing game can do. I know how good Bramer, I know how good Higgins, Knoll, Rocco. I have faith in all those guys. But you've got to be able to keep a defense honest. The situation here is that they are a bad pass defense, okay? They're a bad pass defense. They're a much better rush defense. West Virginia brings to the table a much better rush defense, but you got to be able to loosen them up just a little bit. if Iowa State can get that running game going early, I think it could open up the floodgates to a massive, massive night from Iowa State's wide receivers and tight ends and Rocco Beck. Rocco's dad is being honored at halftime in the West Virginia Hall of Fame, which is really cool. This could be a really special night for that family, but Leah, I think you astutely point out, again, the reason I'm buying the stock is because of Jalen Jackson and those running backs. They started to get going. I think Iowa State's offensive line is on an incline. I don't think that they've hit their best football yet. I think we see it on Saturday night. That's why I'm picking the Cyclones to go on the road, win, and start 6-0 in the 2024 season. What do you think about that? Aiden said earlier he thought I was going to pick West Virginia to win.
Yeah, that's kind of shocking well, I guess not. You have to be super realistic, and I have to be Iowa State super fan.
That's okay. No, I'm an ultra realistic super fan. How about we put it there?
I love that. Put it on a shirt. That's great.
That's a great quote. I'm
that
an
is
ultra
so
realistic
good.
Super fan.
Wow, look at you.
You're the one that said print the shirt, so I'll give you the credit. No, here's the deal. Watching the two teams, they're better than they were in week one, right? I think that they've improved more than Iowa State has. If you watch this team in week one, they're not very good. And my only thing, though, like last week, I'm a little bit like this with Colorado in the Big 12 right now, too. Everyone's hyping West Virginia right now, and everyone's hyping Colorado. You do have to look at, I just don't know what's going on at Oklahoma State. It feels like it's more than just bad football over there in Stillwater. Like there might be something real culturally wrong with that program. And I just got done watching the game, so it's fresh in my mind. Like I give West Virginia a ton of credit for going and doing the way that they did it. They physically dominated that football game, which is really impressive. Still, I think, as I said earlier, if you put these two teams on a neutral field, I would pick Iowa State by a touchdown. Do I think West Virginia's crowd's going to be fantastic? Absolutely. They're probably my second favorite fan base in the Big 12. But I think Iowa State's the better team, and I've had a rule for 20 years, and I'm not going to shy away from it. Now I think if it's a toss-up, I'm always going to pick the good guys. So give me Iowa State by 4. 4 points. 27-23. Couple of field goals there for West Virginia. What about you?
So I feel like I've been underscoring Iowa State a little bit. So I'm going to be a little in these predictions. Yeah. So I'm going to be a little more bold, and I'm going to say Iowa State 34 and West Virginia 17.
Man, I hope you're right.
I know.
I'm not going to bed on Saturday if that's the case.
If that's right, I'll buy everyone a drink.
Wow. In the world.
Every Iowa State fan.
Real quick, you're going to be, for our Eastern Iowa friends, you're going to be doing your first cameo gig.
I know, yeah.
Over at the Mississippi River Distilling Bar, I think is what they call it.
Yeah,
I've been there before. It's tap room, whatever it is.
Have you been to the one in LeClaire?
Yeah, I've been to both.
Have, yeah.
Yeah, they're both fantastic.
Yeah, I'm going to be calling bingo, which is what a thing to say, a 23-year-old Saturday night calling bingo. But hey, it'll
be fun.
I am really excited. So
that's a neat little location they got over there in Davenport.
Yeah, it should be good. So if you're in the Quad Cities area, look at that.
Get yourself a bottle of that Cyclone Fanatic Cody Road, right? Make sure Ryan gives you one of those bottles to put in your apartment there.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
They're great people. We're glad to have them on board with us. I'm glad you could go and do that. But I'll be here at halftime. Leah might join me from there. We're going to see how loud it is and all that good stuff. But I hope it is this has been a fun ride, and the Cyclones are 5-0 since you started doing this, Leah. So we're going to force you to do every basketball game as well.
I'll see what I can do.
And we have basketball media days all week, so it's been a busy week. Ready to get this one kicked off, and hopefully the Cyclones are 6-0.
When was the last time they were 6-0?
Last time they were 7-0 was the best start in school history. That was 1938. I don't know the 6-0 stat off the top of my head, but I'm guessing it was then. I'm guessing it was 1938 would have been the case.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking like World War II era, like a totally different generation of human beings were alive then.
Yeah.
I saw John Walters tweeted out the last time that happened, and it was like that game was not televised, which made me laugh. So,
oh my gosh, you had to listen to it.
I doubt that. This was
Even
probably,
that, you just had to go to the game.
I'm guessing you were reading about that in the newspaper like 4 days later.
Tough.
Is how that would go. Yeah, a little bit different now than us on our smartphones and doing all that good stuff. Thank you, Leah. You're the best.
And thanks to all of our sponsors.
Absolutely. Hopefully Iowa State can go out and get a big win here.
Yeah.